Fans believed they understood why guys abruptly stopped appearing in hip-hop and love, but final. He blew the lid off all the rumors that night with a bombshell that made the network go crazy, rushing to stay up. Was it contract problems, ratings, or something more sinister? It was none of it, Mendes himself said. He claims he was duped and deceived by someone close, forced out because he knew too much, and silenced by producers. His remarks were not merely sentimental when he went live. They were also harmful. He said phony plots, backdoor arrangements. For years, the franchise has been governed by rumors of betrayals. When supporters believed it couldn't get much better, Yandy herself entered the live stream and gave her own cryptic warning if it got any messier. What is true? What is phony? And by whom are the cords being pulled? You won't have the same perspective on hip-hop and love after reading this. For weeks, the affection and one question has been circulating throughout the hip-hop community. In reality, what became of Mendeecees Harris? His unexpected departure from the program left the internet awash in ideas, cast members gossiping, and fans perplexed. A few some swore it was a contract disagreement, while others thought it was over ratings. Naturally, the messiest hypothesis of all one factor was the turbulence in his marriage to Yandy. However, Mendes himself claims that the reality is even more startling. Just prior to his dramatic live session, the network did not want fans to know this fact. Mendes remained primarily quiet. The only clues were found in ambiguous messages, such as one that included a black and white image with the words, "Silence talks louder than falsehoods," and yet another mysterious message that said, "Loyalty isn't what you believe it is." Just those words caused the blogosphere to go into overdrive. The Room of Shader posted them. Twitter was inundated with responses after Hollywood Unlocked requested its fans to decode the message, .conjecture. People were looking for solutions quickly. However, things were already simmering behind the scenes. Over. Mendes and producers had been at odds for months, according to insiders. As the devoted husband who was sometimes drawn into drama but was never let to, he felt confined in a tight cast, complete command of his own story. Conversely, the producers want more controversy, more strife, more dramatic plots. As stated by according to one crew member who wished to remain anonymous, they attempted to force him into circumstances that weren't appropriate for his actual existence. They wanted him to comply, to pretend to be someone he wasn't, and Mendes refused to accept it. According to reports, the breaking point occurred as the new season was being filmed. Allegedly, producers desired Mendes would have been placed up in a fabricated love triangle, competing against another cast member in a phony betrayal storyline. He declined. He made it clear to them that he would not jeopardize his marriage or reputation for influence. Insiders claim that his time on the show was limited after that. Naturally, fans were unaware of any of this. They had to piece together bits and pieces of information. Some people thought he walked on his own terms, weary of the carnival of reality TV. Others thought he was let go for failing to provide enough drama. Then there were rumors that he and Mona Scotch-Young had a furious quarrel. She murmurs to herself that nobody could confirm, but everyone enjoyed saying it again. Yandy, meanwhile, said nothing. That silence merely encouraged conjecture. Why didn't she speak if her spouse had been unfairly removed from the show? Up? Was she defending her own agreement? Or did she have greater knowledge than she did? Letting on? Every one of her Instagram posts was examined for hidden meaning. A meme was created from a simple picture of her drinking tea. Despite knowing the answer, Yandy is keeping it to herself. The pressure increased, till Mendes was unable to handle it any longer. He reached for his phone, pressed "Go Live," and in a matter of seconds, thousands of fans were paying attention. His look was more telling than his words. Anger, resolve, and a fire that demonstrated that he wasn't there to play games. The remarks poured in at once. "You were fired, but why? Is Yandy involved? Tell us about the truth." Initially, he simply smirked and shook his head, seemingly saying, "You guys have no notion." However, he spoke while leaning into the camera. "They claim that I walked away. No, they claim that my contract was the reason I was fired. No, I'll tell you what went down with that." In his home and on the internet, the room fell silent. Everyone was aware of something. It was going to get large. And the conversation erupted when he finally said it. It had nothing to do with agreements. Ratings weren't the point. It had to do with treachery. Someone I had faith in sold me out. The fandom was rocked by those remarks. Who was he? Be discussing? Was it another member of the cast? Was it a production? Or, as some I wondered at away if it was Yandy. The notion that his own wife may have contributed to his demise was nearly too disorganized to be true. However, in the realm of hip-hop and love, nothing is prohibited. Tension erupted as a verified account purporting to be from the business posted a shocking remark while the show was live. Watch what you say. You can tell that men are observing. That one caution changed the energy. Comment spamming began from fans. What does that signify? Who is observing? This is larger more than television. Mendes shook his head and laughed. You see, this goes all the way down. I am not afraid, but they do not want me to speak. This wasn't the case then, concerning a dismissal. This has to do with a cover-up. What he was saying was that someone, perhaps the network, producers, or even co-stars, had planned his removal in order to silence him. But what's quiet about? The $1 million was that query. As supporters were beginning to believe that the night could not get much wilder, a well-known name appeared in the remarks. Harris, Yandy Smith. The conversation took a wild turn. Yandy is present. She's observing. And what will she say? Yandy asked to join the live stream a few seconds later. Mendes paused at first. Understood that letting her in could make all the difference, but he smirked and agreed too. On the television, Yandy's face was strained and her voice was quiet but firm. Are you certain you want to do this, Mendes? The room fell silent. Admirers, they bent towards their phones. Quietly, almost like a warning, that one question set off more warnings than all of together. Mendes's words were blazing. Was she attempting to keep him safe? Herself? The cliffhanger then appeared. Yandy acknowledged in front of thousands of people of viewers. Mendes, you weren't let go. You were positioned. The conversation erupted in disorder. The emojis flew. Incredulous fans screamed. Everyone was curious. Assign who put it up. Why was Yandy only now saying this? However, before anyone could obtain responses, the live stream ended suddenly. Has Instagram taken it down? Completed the production step in? Or did Mendes cut the cord himself? Nobody is aware. However, one thing was evident. This was just the start of a scandal that was far more extensive than anyone could have imagined. The live had hardly ended before the mayhem started. The Yandy and Mendeecees hashtag was thrown up in a matter of minutes, soared to the top of the trending list on Twitter. Fans were now expecting answers rather than merely speculating. The drama was only heightened by the abrupt cutoff. Why did Yandy's startling revelation cause the live stream to halt immediately? Was it amishap? Was it deliberate? Or had the authorities intervened to maintain silence? Both of them? Live video snippets proliferate like wildfire. When the sun rose, the video had been reproduced on all the main blogs by the next morning. The headline was The Shade Room. According to Mendes, he was set up by a close relative. Yandy confirms it by joining his live stream. Hollywood Unlocked inquired about everywhere. Question supporters were yelling. Mendes was betrayed by whom? TMZ even picked it up, portraying it as a backstage collapse that would be disastrous for the Love and Hip Hop series. For the main dispute between Mendeecees and the producers was no longer the only one, fans. Mendes was in contact with his within one's own circle. The game had altered with Yandy's admission. Declaring that he was set up, she wasn't merely supporting him. She was verifying that someone close to him had betrayed him. Fans were left with one after that, scary query. Who was it if not Yandy? Immediately, speculation turned in the direction of the cast. Already notorious for her tangled drama and past incidents, Erica fighting with Yandy became the main suspect on the internet. A rush of memes, main suspect on the internet. A rush of memes, timelines with captions like, "It's always Erica." Feel free to blame Erica if you're unsure. Erica, however, didn't remain quiet. She smirked as she hopped on Instagram stories holding a glass of wine and stated, "Don't look at me. I didn't set anybody up, but perhaps I ought to have if I had known what I now know." That enigmatic remark caused a rout on the internet. Was she merely trolling, or was she confessing something? Observation? In any case, it portrayed her as a key player in the pandemonium that was developing. Fans weren't letting her get away with it either. However, the unexpected twist came from an unexpected source. A creator and a gossip blog received messages from an unidentified source who claimed to be a member of the Love and Hip Hop production team. The messages implied that Mendes was under duress to take part. When he declined, they started planning how to get rid of him in a plot he didn't desire. According to one intercepted text, "If he won't play ball, he's out. We'll figure something out." The leak became well known, immediately. Fans had speculated for years that reality TV wasn't totally true, but seeing real receipts validated their worst suspicions. It wasn't merely disorganized. The machine was calculating. There were others besides the fans, but I was astonished. Other actors started to speak up. Carly Red shared an inscrutable tweet. As I mentioned earlier, not everything is as it seems. Some individuals learn the hard way. Spice fueled the flames with the statement, "Me stay out of this one," and a laughing emoji. Out of this one, however, the truth always bonds liars as well. Liars. Yandy found herself in the center as the actors started picking sides. Everywhere on the internet. Her one line from the live viewer setup was now being played again. A few admirers, while some suspected her of complicity, others commended her for sticking by her guy. Why hadn't she said anything earlier? If she was aware of the truth, why had she allowed Mendeecees to perform live? And possibly the most severe, the complaint was that she had always been defending herself. Allowing him to tumble till it became too disorganized to overlook. When Mona Scott Young herself spoke up, the first twist became more complex. Well known for, Mona rarely confronts drama head-on because she keeps her cards close to the vest. However, things were getting out of control this time, beyond control. Through a public relations representative, she released a succinct, well-crafted statement. "We respect all of our cast members, as well as their tales. Casting decisions are made with the show's integrity in mind. Any claims of any wrongdoing or setups are untrue and will be dealt with internally." However, rather than soothing fans, Mona's remarks backfired. Integrity was turned into a joke. Tweets ridiculed the notion of hip-hop's sincerity and love, as demonstrated by a widely shared post that claimed Mona was discussing integrity during the 3 fights that were staged at the same restaurant during the previous season. Goodbye, girl. Then the time arrived when made supporters understand that this would not go away in peace. Mendeecees resumed his live broadcast. He wasn't smirking this time. His statements had more weight and a stronger tone. They are able to make all the statements they desire public. They are free to try spinning it in any way they like. However, the truth is what it is. I said, no, don't play their game. I'm not on the show because of this. For a period. The conversation exploded once more, but something was different this time. Verified accounts began taking part in the live stream. Producers, former co-stars, and even some celebrities who had never appeared on the show. Among a rapper who had once dated a cast member commented on them. With me, they made the same attempt. The only distinction, I was not covered by a contract. Fans realized this wasn't only about Mendeecees after reading just one message. This concerned a bigger system. However, that second live's conclusion was the true twist. The same as he was finishing off, Yandy entered the picture. She was clearly terrified and appeared to be begging. "Mendeecees, please consider regarding your statements. It's no longer just about you. You might endanger all of us. Risk." That term shook the fandom to its core. Who is the danger? The creators? The network? Or something more significant? Something that was intended to be kept under wraps? Fans right away started speculating. Some thought Mendeecees had unintentionally revealed backdoor business transactions with the network. Others believed Yandy's warning implied legal issues, possibly even threats from those in positions of actual authority. The husband and wife's conflict was now publicly visible. Mendeecees didn't support down, and Yandy feared the consequences of continuing to push. Previously, their marriage served as the strongest basis. The franchise was now displaying flaws that weren't brought on by controversies involving cheating or a little drama, but by something more sinister, the struggle against a machine that is larger than both of them. As the live concluded, leaving supporters in disarray once more. Was Mendeecees under Yandy's protection? Defending herself? Was Erica merely stirring things up, or was she actually involved? And was there more that Mona Scott Young was concealing than she was prepared to acknowledge? The initial twist was successful. This wasn't merely reality television. It was war. Enda's second live's aftermath didn't simply remain in the fandom. It became popular. Bet on Entertainment Tonight. It was even picked up by the Rolling Stone's online gossip magazine. Mona Scott Young was officially unable to handle the story, and VH1 to disregard. However, a public spotlight simply made the situation worse rather than better. Fans started making connections they hadn't before thought about. Vintage clips returned in scenes where Mendeecees appeared noticeably uneasy during specific plot points. Times when producers forced him into uncomfortable situations or sequences where he appeared hesitant to discuss private issues. As evidence that he had fought the producers' manipulations for years, those clips were now being reframed. 1. "We should have known when Mendeecees left the dinner scene," the widely shared tweet said. "Man been done with the fake turmoil, but the cast members themselves were the ones who really escalated it. Erica, already under suspicion, intensified with yet another shocking Instagram post. With a cheeky smile, she said, bringing her phone near. All one line that caused the shockwaves was, "When you bite the hand that feeds you, don't cry when the food stops coming." Internet in full swing. Was she acknowledging that she had contributed to Mendeecees' demise, or was she just taking pleasure in his suffering? In any case, people dubbed her the snake in the garden, making Erica into Judith in memes, accompanied by silver coins dispersed between time periods. Yandy remained silent, which was even more deafening following her plea on camera during Mendeecees' second live performance. Supporters anticipated that she would make a remark, but she remained silent for days. Instead, she shared hazy pictures of herself online, children, motivational sayings about perseverance in the face of adversity, and a single caption that, "Sometimes silence speaks louder than words to fans," was what I read, sufficient proof that something significant was being concealed. It was a new escalation, levels when what was revealed by an anonymous blog that was known to expose trade secrets. They referred to screenshots of purported emails and texts, as well as unique production receipts. Discussions were displayed in the threads between producers on the restructuring of Mendeecees' plot. In one communication, it was even proposed that a bogus cheating storyline to gauge Yandy's devotion and generate a surge in ratings. The Mendeecees allegedly refused to comply, according to the site. The producers then made the decision to let him go. The Disclosure fans were deeply stunned. This was more than simply manipulation on reality TV. This was self-defeating. His marriage and his reputation would have been ruined by a made-up adultery plot. Yandy's warning during the live stream suddenly made more sense. She was afraid of more than simply him revealing dubious activities, procedures. If more of those nefarious secrets were revealed, she feared the personal toll it would have. However, another bomb went off, this time from within the business itself, just as the internet was starting to process that revelation. A former cast member of Love and Hip Hop, who had mysteriously quit the program years prior, came forward in an interview for a podcast. "Let's just say Mendeecees ain't lying. They've been doing," they asserted without mentioning names, "you either play the idiot, the villain, or you don't play at all. Additionally, if you don't play, they push you out." A flurry of suspicion was stoked by the podcast tape, which went viral. Had anyone else been forced out? Was this the reason why several fan favorites abruptly vanished? Old fans flocked to DMIs and comment sections, requesting that the cast members reveal the truth. A few replied with mysterious emojis. The fire was growing, but others said nothing. Mendeecees, however, remained ongoing on the attack. He stated in another tweet, "They sought to ruin my reputation, however, they are unable to erase my reality." That caption alone received 500,000 views, likes, and hundreds of encouraging remarks. But behind the scenes, things weren't quite that simple. According to insiders, that Mona Scott Young was incensed with Yandy as much as Mendeecees. According to a blog post, the producer said, "Mona feels betrayed." Yandy was expected to hold him in line. Rather, she allowed him to act erratically. This insight painted Yandy in a more nuanced manner. Was she attempting to shield her spouse, or the startling revelation, however, was whether she had been divided between allegiance to him and loyalty to the show that had created her empire, originated from a leaked legal document rather than Mendeecees, Erica, or even Mona. Online screenshots displayed what looked to be a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, purportedly connected to Love and Hip-Hop cast members inserted provisions prohibiting them from disclosing false production techniques, stories, and private contract arrangements. Fans started analyzing it almost away. If it was true, it demonstrated that in addition to writing drama, the producers had also used legal means to silence cast members. Threats, and worst of all, the NDA stipulated monetary fines, and the Yandy's concerns suddenly made sense, hundreds of thousands for violations. If the question that hung over everything, Mendeecees, was terrifying. Would endure this battle against the computer, or would it engulf him? The morning following the NDA leak, the internet was on fire. It felt more like a cultural reckoning than gossip. The same question was being asked by reality TV viewers everywhere. Have we been duped all along? Every dubious Love and hip-hop plotline over the previous 10 years was dismantled by Twitter threads. As fans pointed out, dramatic cheating scandals that never added up. Well-timed battles and exits that suddenly made sense if one widely shared post stated, "So many DCs ain't just talking about the NDA being real. We've been duped for years. And this explains half of the drama we believe to be true. The argument spread blogs, gossip programs, and even mainstream media sites, in addition to the fan base, took up the subject. The host who replaced Wendy Williams began her piece by saying, "If these accusations are accurate, hip-hop and love may be less grounded in reality and more like scripted soap operas with contracts." The shockwaves are evident in every response, including gasping and cheering, but what really celebrity comments exacerbated the pandemonium? With celebrities who had never mentioned hip-hop or love suddenly waded in, with the caption, "LL." Scent shared a meme of Mona Scott Young who had been photoshopped into the appearance of a puppet master. They were upset with Mendeecees because he refused to play the clown. Nicki Minaj enjoyed multiple tweets defending Yandy's allegiance, which led to speculation that perhaps had more behind-the-scenes knowledge. Kanye West, who never passes up a chance to stir things up, tweeted, "Slavery is reality TV. Your story is written by them. Your life is owned by them." Kudos to Mendeecees for defending himself. Just that tweet set the internet into a frenzied debate among fans on whether Kanye was speaking the truth or just using the situation to gain attention. In the meantime, the cast of Love and Hip Hop was breaking up in real time. Erica, who had previously been suspected, shared a video disparaging Mendeecees once more while sipping champagne. "Y'all believe anything?" she grinned. "Are some people simply upset that they are no longer the star?" The reaction was instantaneous. Fans referred to her as the Judith of VH1 and showered her comments with snake emojis. However, Spice surprised everyone by going live with Yandy without giving away any details, made it plain. Mia told Anu that this Yandy was faithful. "No matter what, That statement stoked rumors that Yandy had been silenced because she had been carrying more than the show allowed you to see. By her own NDA, she finds herself in a precarious situation where she must safeguard her livelihood while defending her husband." Red posted, "Some of you have been silent for too long. Don't pretend to be fresh." Fans thought she was supporting Mendeecees right away, pointing out her cryptic tweets throughout the years that alluded to dubious production techniques. The public's response was not just passionate, but also well-planned. Supporters started petitions calling on VH1 to look into its producers. Hashtags such as "Expose LHH" and "Justice for Mendeecees" started to trend, with thousands vowing to abstain from the program until the truth was revealed, yet accused men of chasing clout. Why, if he was sincere about the truth, wait until now? He's upset because they let him go. One reply said, "The gap was evident. He was viewed as a whistleblower by half of the internet. He was viewed as a bitter ex by the other half or worker." However, the response was much more dangerous within the industry. A Hollywood Reporter article claims that Mona Scott Young called an urgent meeting with the lawyers and management of VH1. The extent of the leaks was excessive, and if actors started violating NDAs one after another, the entire franchise may collapse. It was rumored that Moana possessed a cache of unutilized video material, unpleasant incidents and personal admissions that had never been made public. According to an insider, if Mona feels supported, she'll burn everything down if she gets into a corner. No one is safe, not even Yandy. Fans were shaken by the terrifying warning and began to wonder whether the creators were about to release compromising Mendeecees refused to back down. But Yandy herself became the focal point of the controversy with clips of their favorite celebrities, seemed more and more torn. When asked directly about the incident at a charity event, she said brief but to the point, "I will always support and adore my spouse, but some topics I simply cannot discuss." Her eyes gleamed, and admirers instantly started. The video is being circulated with captions such as "Sis is pleading for assistance." The rift grew even further when Jocelyn Hernandez, another former cast member, joined the conversation while ranting on Instagram. Her voice yelled, "Mona been doing, she will try to manipulate everyone, even me, but I'm the Puerto Rican princess. No one can control me." Supporters flooded her remarks. Some even made a call, wants Mendeecees and Joe's line to collaborate and destroy the entire empire. However, Mona wasn't running away. The official Love and Hip Hop account released a promotional teaser for the upcoming season. The dramatic clip's slogan is, "The truth isn't always what it seems," featured dubious images of Erica and Yandy. And even Mendeecees' name appeared as though daring him to continue speaking to the public about Dot. It was like open combat. On Mendeecees, with the supporters supporting him on one side. In contrast, Mona Scotch Network and the enormous reality TV apparatus committed to safeguarding its dominance. But there was some division within the sector. Whispers spread quietly, that other reality stars were thinking about voicing their opinions. According to a well-known gossip blogger, at least 3 former cast members were prepared to verify Mendeecees' story if it were provided. The opportunity. According to the blogger, he won't be the last. This is just the start. The responses were no longer worldwide. The story was covered by British tabloids with headlines like Mendeecees versus Mona, a conspiracy on reality TV. The cryptic defense of Yandy by Spic was emphasized by Caribbean outlets. Even hip-hop. During their morning shows, radio stations discussed the incident with listeners who were divided between sympathetic and skeptical. Regarding he was still defiant, Mendeecees. He stated in a recent post, "You can silence a guy." He said, "But you can't stop the truth. I'm not going to back down." However, during Yandy's infrequent public appearances, fans couldn't help but notice the anxiety on her face. Was she afraid of what was about to happen? Because if Mona's secret vault was indeed real, then the next move might have disastrous effects for everyone involved, not just Mendeecees' display. The last twist came just when supporters seemed things couldn't get much worse, and it left them for days. The whole love and hip-hop globe was in shock. There were rumors that Mona Scott possessed years' worth of damaging video, snippets, and admissions in a vault. Fans initially wrote it off as scare tactics. However, Gossip Page revealed what it was late one Friday night, said to be unique, never-before-seen video taken directly from production archives. Mendeecees' ears were shown in the clip before, expressing his annoyance with Yandy in a heated encounter. When taken apart of context, he appeared icy, even contemptuous of his spouse. "This is the man you're defending," the caption said. Receipts. The web went crazy. Mona's supporters asserted that this was evidence that Mendeecees was not the hero he claimed to be. However, devoted supporters quickly retaliated, pointing out that the video was obviously chopped, interrupted in the middle of a statement, and purposefully altered to disparage him. "We are not foolish." One, the widely shared post said, Mona tried to change the course of events because Mendeecees was honest. But the damage was already done. The story was changed by leaked video, and Yandy was suddenly the center of attention. Blogs posted headlines such, "Was Yandy always the true victim?" Mendeecees' marriage was also put to the test during an explosive leak. She was under too much strain, and fans bombarded her with remarks, with pity and charges. Some pleaded with her to leave him, while others accused. Then came the actual cliffhanger. She had been covering for him all along. A second leak appeared, but this time it came from an unidentified person claiming to be inside Mona's camp, the device. The disclosure contained screen grabs of emails in which producers specifically talked about fabricating a cheating plotline in which Yandy is framed as the antagonist. Mendeecees won't respond to the purported text. "If we make Yandy look like she's not as loyal as fans think, it'll break the internet. Like it, but he'll comply." The fandom was rocked by the revelation. For years, Yandy was meant to be collateral damage, even if Mendeecees had been speaking the truth, had questioned why producers seemed to shield Yandy at all times. Now Yandy broke her silence the following day in a sad Instagram Live, revealing that she had been targeted, with a weak voice and no makeup. She sat in her living room and remarked, "I've been bearing this burden for a very long time. They sought to ruin my marriage and my reputation. I didn't." She sobbed. "I thought that by keeping quiet, we would be protected, but it actually made things worse. We were set up. Both of us." The comments poured in the middle of the statement. Fans posted comments like, "Protect Yandy at all costs," and "This is deeper than reality," with sadness and indignation. Her live stream drew more than 200K watchers in a matter of minutes, making it one of the largest viewers outside of the show in hip-hop history and love. Mendeecees joined her on camera midway through, his remarks piercing despite his tense, angry countenance. "See, this is why I couldn't keep quiet, because they've been trying to ruin us for years, and I'm not letting it happen." Yandy brushed away her tears and said, "But Mendeecees, they're not likely to allow this slide. You are aware of that. This will not be tolerated by them. You are aware of that." At that point, the terrifying portion occurred. Thousands of people saw odd remarks saturating the chat as they talked, accounts that appeared new, everyone publishing the same message, anonymously. "Stop it right away. You don't want what's coming." It appeared to be orchestrated, and some fans even asserted that it wasn't simply trolls. For a few seconds, live froze, then glitched back as though someone was attempting to stop it. When the broadcast eventually concluded, the story had transformed from a play to a conflict, leaving the internet speechless, between a powerful machine and a pair. Monist Scott Young said nothing following the revelations, but insiders said legal documents were already underway. It was reported that a ceasandist had been sent to Yandy's and the men's homes to warn them of irrevocable financial and professional repercussions if they persisted in speaking up. However, rather than resigning, Mendeecees has doubled down, sharing a single picture of a chessboard on Instagram along with the words, "Your move." Fans were devastated by the cliffhanger. Would Mendeecees' career come to an end, or was Yandy able to support him through the start of the largest reality TV expose ever? With every weapon at its disposal, the Empire retaliated. But perhaps most horrifying of all, what did in a tweet that went viral? A fan best expressed what Mona and her team have planned next. This is a revolution. It's no longer reality TV. And there you have it, the tempest that no one anticipated. It began with rumors that Mendeecees was being subtly moved away from hip and love. From leaked NDAs to disclosed sexual orientation, Hop has exploded into one of the most explosive scandals reality TV has ever seen: emails. From Yandy's devastating admissions to Mona's alleged vault, the story is now about more than just one man being fired. It's about loyalty, power, and deception, considering the price of speaking out when the system wants you to keep quiet. But the real question today is, what should we do next? Do you think Mendeecees is courageously revealing the truth here, or do you think he's putting himself and Yandy in danger by playing a risky game? Should the network be held responsible for? Is this just another instance of reality TV actors making up their own drama? Or are they supposedly making up storylines? And most crucially, what would happen if Mona chose to use her last card? We want to hear from you. Right now, leave your ideas, hypotheses, and forecasts in the comments section. Are you writing? Do you believe the love and hip-hop empire will retaliate more forcefully than ever before, or will Mendeecees be at Yandy's side? This story is definitely not finished. If you thought the revelations today were crazy, believe me, you will be dumbfounded after reading the following chapter. So be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates, since the fallout is only getting worse and the truth bombs are continuously dropping larger. Keep an eye out. This is only the beginning, not the end. Guinness, everybody for you.